the girl I'd grown up with. Emma Clark, the girl I'd grown up with, was pinned against the lockers by the new transfer jock. He asked her what I was to her. Emma's voice was ice. Just the guy next door. The jock. David Wilson smirked, snaked an arm around her waist, and pulled her in for a hard kiss. Later, after some party, a girl was helping me stumble home when Emma cornered me, her eyes blazing. My friend James asked what Emma was to me. I echoed, just the girl next door. The new semester at Northwood High kicked off with major gossip. Last year's star athlete from Riverton, a guy who was top tier, had to transfer to Northwood to repeat senior year because his GPA wasn't cutting it for college. During break, a stampede of students rushed out of the classroom. A minute later, my desk mate James stumbled back in, panting. "Michael," he gasped, "you gotta see this. The new jock in Emma's class. Total poser. Strutting around like he's God's gift, shirt practically painted on to show off his muscles. Seriously, his pecs are huge. I swear he's not here to catch up on credits. He's here to pick up girls." James repeated the rant, but I didn't look up from my textbook. "No time. Gotta finish this problem set so I can hit the courts after school." James nudged me. "Aren't you worried about losing your girl, dude? You've got home field advantage, but this guy?" He shook his head. "Nah, forget it. With your brainy heartthrob vibe and Emma's ice queen routine, she's only ever had eyes for you. No way some new guy turns her head." I grinned smugly. "Emma and I were childhood sweethearts. Our parents were best friends. We were practically betrothed before birth. At parent-teacher conferences, if one set of parents was busy, the other covered for both of us. .1 in each homeroom. Teachers didn't bat an eye. Growing up, Emma and I were Northwood's golden couple. I jokingly asked her out plenty. She never said no, just blushed and looked down. I took that as a yes. Emma was aloof, keeping every guy at arm's length except me. Her list of rejections. Handsome, brilliant, rich guys. Was legendary. So no, I wasn't worried about David. After school, I waited for Emma outside her classroom as usual. Just as we left, a wave of musky cologne hit me. David. Buzz. Cut, arrogant eyes, cocky smirk. Stepped in front of Emma. "Emma Clark, we're throwing a welcome party for me tonight. You should come." Emma didn't glance his way. "No time." She took a step, then looked back at me. "Michael, let's go." I pulled my gaze from David, but not before catching his challenging stare. On the way home, I played it cool. "So, that's the new transfer in your class?" "Yeah." Emma kept her eyes on the sidewalk. "What's he like?" I pressed. She stopped, turned, serious, total showboat. "All brawn, no brains." "Haha, you nailed it." I gave her a thumbs up. Her assessment eased my mind, and the locker scene faded. At her door, I paused. "Emma, let's apply to MIT, okay?" She turned back, porch light warming her usually cool, pale face. She nodded demurely. "Okay." Every morning, I'd bring Emma a milk carton. She was too thin and skipped breakfast. After first period, on my way to the restroom, I'd check if she'd finished it. She'd gulp it down with a sigh, like a chore. One day, James and I returned from the restroom. I tossed a peach hard candy through her window. She unscrewed the milk cap, but David snatched the candy off the floor. Emma frowned. "David, give that back." "Hey, gorgeous, save me. Low blood sugar. This candy's my only hope." David turned, grinning at me briefly before ignoring me. "All right, stingy." He tossed the candy on her desk, then picked up her milk. "You always drink this brand. Isn't it good? Give me one tomorrow." "Get your own," Emma snapped. "Come on, classmates help each other." He made a face. "You're pretty cold, you know." After that, David popped up everywhere. Borrowing notes, needing an eraser, a shadow. I wasn't worried. The more he bugged Emma, the more she'd despise him. Sure enough, he seemed to give up, and life returned to normal. One day, explaining a physics problem to Emma, her gaze shot past me, calmness shattering. Behind me, David laughed with another girl. "David," Emma said, voice tight. He looked up, feigning surprise. "Need something?" I watched Emma ignore me, eyes locked on David. Her worksheet corner crumpled, knuckles white. "You're the only one who hasn't turned in English homework." A girl beside David chimed in. I was checking it for him. "I'll hand it in now." David tugged the girl's ponytail. "Hurry before the class rep comes for me." They ran off laughing. Emma stood frozen, eyes as dark as the ocean. I felt something slipping. Days later, returning from the restroom, I saw Emma's desk. No milk carton, just a soda can. My hand froze mid-toss of her peach candy. David sat nearby, sipping from her milk carton, staring at me. The string inside me snapped. I turned away, didn't throw the candy. That evening, she didn't look at me. I went home pissed. She didn't seek me out. The next morning in the elevator, I handed her milk. She hesitated, took it. We didn't mention yesterday. Silent agreement. Maybe David snatched the milk, I told myself. But I stopped reminding her to drink. Ate the peach candies myself. James noticed the rift. No way. Michael. Did that jock steal your girl? Are my favorite golden couple done? Focus on midterms. I tapped his forehead. Winter showcase is in a few days, James said. Emma's piano solo is the finale. Get her a killer bouquet. Show her what she's missing. David doesn't stand a chance. After study hall, James and I headed out with a basketball, running into Emma and David on the stairs. They walked side by side, closer than she'd ever been to any guy but me. Emma flinched at the sight of me. Wait. I was rehearsing for the showcase, and we just ran into each other. Her voice trailed off. Right. I bounced the ball, walked past. She called out, Michael, don't wait for me tonight. I need to rehearse. Okay, I said softly. She meant don't wait ever. David urged, let's go, Emma. James asked, still want to play? Definitely. One-on-one. Loser buys drinks. On showcase day, the auditorium buzzed. Before Emma's performance, whistles erupted. Go, Emma. Get together. Get together. Teachers shut it down, but my hand involuntarily tightened around the glow stick I was holding, almost snapping it. James and the classmates around me looked at me with concern. I forced a don't worry about me smile. A spotlight hit the stage, illuminating the figure seated at the grand piano. Emma, in a white gown, looked like a graceful swan, beautiful as a fairy tale princess. A light, melodious tune flowed from her long, elegant fingers, a gentle smile gracing her lips. It had been only a couple of weeks since we stopped walking to school together, but I suddenly felt like I didn't recognize the Emma on stage. Her tender expression, the soft smile as she looked down, these were new, completely unfamiliar. My heart skipped a beat, like a vice grip squeezing my chest, aching with a sour, painful tightness that stole my breath. I couldn't make out what James was saying beside me. I just kept my face tilted up, a wooden smile plastered on it. Finally, as the crowd erupted in cheers, I muttered something about needing the restroom and bolted, desperate to hide how wrecked I was. The principal was giving closing remarks. Emma should be backstage changing. Clutching the bouquet I bought earlier, I decided to try one last time. I couldn't believe what we had was so fragile that if I put in a little more effort, I could fix things. Reaching backstage, I pulled back a curtain corner. David's voice drifted out. Emma, are you into that guy Michael from the other class? No. Her answer was quick, too quick. Then what's the deal with you two? I heard you guys were neighbors. Emma's reply was curt. He's just my neighbor, that's all. David smirked, wrapped an arm around her waist, and kissed her hard just for a second. Then Emma pulled away, not in anger, not pushing him off, just a blush spreading across her face. I froze. I thought I'd be devastated, but strangely, all I could think was, the showcase is almost over. I need to get back. I turned, walked away, and chucked the flowers into the nearest trash can. After that, Emma and David were official at school. Totally public. No one mentioned Emma and me anymore. It was an unspoken taboo. I'd bump into Emma occasionally, but we hadn't really talked since the winter showcase. I'd stopped bringing her milk, and whenever I passed her classroom, I'd see David and Emma sitting together. James would roll his eyes. If they get any more obvious, I'm reporting them for PDA. Seeing my lack of reaction, he'd ask why I wasn't mad. My mom always says, focus on your books, son. Success is the best revenge. And it attracts the right attention. Once I ace my SATs and get into a top college, I'll have my pick of anyone, I told him. James looked at me admiringly. Michael, with that attitude, you're destined for greatness. Don't forget me when you're famous, okay? Next came midterms. When results came out, Emma's rank had plummeted. She wasn't even in the top 30, a first. Her homeroom teacher, Ms. Davis, found me, hesitant. Michael, about Emma and David. I've spoken to them. They promised to focus on studies. I was hoping you could still help Emma, like you used to. I'm sure you don't want to see her throw everything away. I used to tutor Emma in tough subjects. I thought for a few seconds, then said seriously, Ms. Davis, it's senior year. I'm swamped with my own studies. I really can't help Emma. After your talk, I'm sure she'll catch up on her own. It was time to ditch the savior complex that her destiny was hers. Ms. Davis sighed. All right, I understand. She called Emma's parents that evening. When I got home, they were waiting in our living room. Michael, dear, Mrs. Clark asked delicately, we haven't seen you at our place with Emma in a while. Did you two fight? They'd always joked about me being their future son-in-law. Finding out Emma was dating someone else must have shocked them. But I could tell they hadn't reprimanded Emma. When I shook my head, saying we hadn't fought, there was reproach in Mrs. Clark's voice. Our Emma is beautiful but naive. We always told you to look out for her. Make sure no one took advantage. Now you're still top of the class, but her grades have dropped. You're doing so well that couldn't you spare energy to help her? Then you both could get into good colleges. They didn't mention David, instead blaming me for her slacking off. Before I could respond, my mom jumped in. The main reason Emma's grades dropped is her new relationship. Michael can help, but Emma has to want to improve. They grew up together, why would Emma suddenly date someone else? She seems fickle, with studies and feelings. Mom's words left Emma's parents speechless. I gave her a secret thumbs up. She shot me a triumphant look. The Clarks left embarrassed, tails between their legs. Life settled into a new normal. Emma and I went our separate ways by unspoken agreement that no drama, no goodbyes. Like she said, we were just neighbors. Without Emma's schoolwork to worry about, I poured energy into my own studies and even had time to shoot hoops daily. One day, returning from discussing problems with Mr. Harrison, our physics teacher, I sensed a weird vibe in class. Tension and excitement. James leaned in conspiratorially. Michael, guess what? We're getting a new student, and she's gorgeous. A transfer this late in the semester. How's she going to catch up? Maybe she's like those who game the system for college admissions. Pad transcripts at a fancy prep school, then transfer here to ace SATs, I said. James was still brainstorming. You mean like an unfair advantage? You need to study more? I tapped his head. Michael, your valedictorian reign might be over. I'm mourning for you. 3 minutes of silence. He clutched his head, clowning. Ain't over till it's over. Anyone can be a dark horse, I said confidently. Just before the bell, our homeroom teacher, Mrs. Albright, walked in with a girl. Oh my God, wow. I think I'm dead, James gasped. I looked up, and my eyes met hers. She wore our standard Northwood high polo and skirt, hair in a simple ponytail. Plainest outfit, yet incredibly vibrant. A delicate oval face, porcelain skin, big round eyes. Class, this is Julia Lane. Please welcome her. Julia, take the empty seat in front of Michael. Michael, look after her. I nodded. Julia glanced at me gratefully and walked over. Mrs. Albright finally did something right, James whispered. If she beats you, I'm okay with that. Get lost, traitor. Hi, I'm Julia Lane. Nice to meet you all. Hope we can get along. Her smile was sweet, dimples showing, voice soft and clear. Whenever she didn't understand a problem, she'd turn to me with a pleading look, and I'd explain patiently. She was smart, a quick learner. Once used to the teachers, she asked for help less, but I found myself looking forward to those moments. Soon came finals. Emma's ranking had climbed to 20th, while Julia rose from 15th to 2nd. I stayed first. James whispered, Michael, you make me proud. If you let her beat you, our school's rep is toast. Whatever. Making my parents proud. What have I done for your rep? Even brilliant. Julia sometimes struggled with advanced science and math. After finals, she asked my winter break plans. Planning to hit the library every day. No mercy. Outstudy everyone, I teased. Julia gasped. Serious? Not even a break? You're insane. She thought, then added, I'm in. If you can't beat him, join him. Join what? I want to go too. James jumped in, and others overheard, signing up. We named our group the ACIT Crew, nominating me as leader. Attendance, penalties, answering questions. I regretted teasing Julia. Too late to back out. Nope, no take-backs, Julia giggled. Winter break, heading to the library, I saw a group at the house across the street. David and buddies ringing Emma's doorbell. My parents mentioned her folks were out of town. Seconds later, Emma opened the door. I glanced, then looked away, hearing David's laugh. You said you and Michael were neighbors, but I didn't realize you lived this close. Emma grunted, letting them in. After changing shoes, I heard Emma's voice. Michael, you're avoiding me. It was a statement. You're imagining things. What's going on between you and that transfer student? We're just classmates. David, leaning out from Emma's door. Emma, everyone's waiting. What's taking so long? He shot me a smug look. Michael, I hope we can still be friends. I'll talk to you another time. Emma rushed the words, closing the door before I could react. I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping. Friends? Neighbors? We'd never used those words. When people teased us, she'd never denied it. I'd liked Emma, believed she liked me, but now I realized I was wrong. She'd used me as a shield to turn down guys, and I'd played along. Walking her, bringing milk, tutoring. She'd lapped up the attention. Bluntly, I'd been her simp. She never rejected me, never truly said yes. For years, my life revolved around books and Emma. Most saw me as Emma Clark's shadow. But now I was Michael Sterling, #1 at Northwood. No one's shadow. Without Emma, my future seemed brighter, wider. Not focused on her, I had time for myself, to notice good things around me. She was used to me being her only confidant, her gravitational constant in a universe of acquaintances. Suddenly there emerged another girl by my side that equally captivating, yet sharper in wit. She must have felt the gravitational pull shifting, since the orbit she'd taken for granted was unraveling. That's why those words "let's stay friends" slipped out, why the promise of talking later hung in the air. She was clutching at the backup plan she'd always assumed I'd be, rebranding our history as friendship to keep the door ajar for a potential re-entry. Buzz buzz. My phone vibrated in my pocket. Glancing across the street, I saw Julia perched at her bedroom window, her nose pressed to the glass as she flashed a mischievous grin, motioning emphatically toward my pocket. Michael Voyager. It's snowing in real time. Voyager. The moniker she'd christened me with. She'd explained it stemmed from my habit of always gazing toward the horizon, plotting trajectories toward distant dreams, and how Michael, meaning who is like God, seemed a fitting guide for someone forever charting new constellations. It had become our private lexicon, a code word that lit up my day. Outside, the last embers of daylight dissolved into twilight, and snowflakes began their delicate descent. But in that moment, the only luminance that mattered was the girl at the window, her dimples carving crescents in her cheeks, her smile a supernova against the graying sky. Another message popped up. First snow of the season. Make a wish. I lifted my gaze to meet her starry eyes, the kind that held galaxies of hope. Let's wish for parallel futures that blaze equally bright. New Year's Eve. Our family had just returned from a bustling dinner at the corner bistro when I spotted Emma in the elevator lobby, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. The flush on her cheeks wasn't from the cold, her anger was a tangible force, radiating waves I'd never witnessed before. Michael, we need to have a conversation. Now. Her tone brooked no argument as she seized my forearm, towing me toward the elevator. My parents called after us, voices laced with concern. Take it easy, sweetheart. Talk things through calmly. The courtyard was a chaos of sparklers, kids shrieking as they drew luminous trails in the dark. Emma didn't slow her pace until we reached a shadowy corner of the community park, where the only light came from a flickering street lamp. I stared at the ground, watching our merged shadows stretch and contort, wondering which version of Emma would emerge from the storm. Michael, was it you who ratted out David and his friends to my parents? About them coming over? Her voice was as frigid as the snowflakes landing in her hair. I blinked, genuinely stunned. No, I didn't. Her frown deepened, skepticism etched into every furrow. The day they came by, I told you we'd talk, but you've been leaving the house before dawn and slinking back after dark. Is this your way of getting back at me? It's incredibly juvenile. Juvenile? I looked down at her, a strange sense of detachment washing over me. Once, her anger would have sent me into a tailspin of apologies, but now it just seemed misplaced. Just then, Julia's name lit up my phone screen. Michael Voyager, don't tell me you're buried in calculus right now? The crew is gathering by the river for fireworks that you better not be a no-show. A smile tugged at my lips involuntarily. My fingers flew across the keyboard. Whoever bails on fireworks is a certified rotten egg. Sit tight, I'm en route. Aye aye, Captain, I muttered with a chuckle. Michael, Emma took a step closer, her face inches from mine. Oh, sorry, I forgot you were still here, I said, offering a perfunctory apology. Something in her eyes shifted, then the anger receded, replaced by a hesitation so foreign it caught me off guard. I took a deliberate step back. Believe me or not, I had nothing to do with it. When I say I didn't, I mean it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have plans. Happy New Year's Eve, she said, her voice so soft it nearly vanished in the wind. I waved over my shoulder without looking back, striding purposefully toward the community entrance. E-Bike Brigade to the river. Our winter study crew zoomed through the streets on a fleet of E-Bikes, a noisy caravan of laughter and wheels. Julia sat behind me, initially clutching the edge of the seat. When I was certain the others were preoccupied, I gently took her hands, tucking them into the warm fleece lining of my puffer jacket's pockets. Warmer this way, I called over my shoulder. She didn't pull away, and my heart did a small somersault. Hold on tight that I'm picking up speed. Through the thick fabric, I felt her arms snake around my waist, a reassuring weight that anchored me. The riverbank was a sea of people, all craning their necks toward the sky. After a lengthy hunt, we found a semi-clear spot just as the countdown started up front. 10, 9, 8. We joined in, our voices blending with the crowd's roar. 3, 2, 1. Across the water, the first firework exploded, painting the night sky in shards of gold. I stood beside Julia, one arm loosely draped across her back to shield her from the jostling crowd. Suddenly, I felt a warm breath against my ear, carrying the sweet scent of peppermint chapstick. Michael Voyager, that Happy New Year. May every dream you've ever dared to dream come true. Julia was standing on tiptoe, her cheeks flushed from the cold, her eyes reflecting the fireworks like twin pools of stardust. Happy New Year, Jules, I replied, my heart feeling as though it might burst with warmth. The booms of fireworks echoed in the air, one after another, while our friends shouted their wishes into the night. Get into Harvard. Ace the SATs. I cupped my hands around my mouth and bellowed at the top of my lungs. MIT. Here I come. Watch out, world. The winter wind was biting, but our youth burned brighter than any firework that night. Spring honor roll and fading shadows. All that winter break cramming proved worthwhile. When the first post-break exam scores came out, I'd held on to first place, and every member of our study group had seen significant improvements. At lunch, we congregated near the honor roll bulletin board. Hey, James stood on tiptoes for a better view. Looks like Emma still hasn't cracked the top 20. Wonder if dating drama is cramping her style. He turned to me, grinning. You and Julia are solid as a rock, though point 1 and 2, just like always. When are you going to share some of that academic mojo with me, huh? Help me climb out of mediocrity. Get out of here, I laughed, nudging him. You've jumped, like, 10 spots already. Greedy much? Just then, Emma turned around, and I was struck by how frail she looked. The puffer jacket swallowed her frame, making her seem like she might blow away with the next gust of wind. Congratulations, she said, her voice flat, devoid of any inflection. Thanks, I replied. The early spring breeze swirled between us, a tangible reminder that we'd become ships passing in the academic night, bound for different harbors. Julia came bounding up from behind, tugging on my sleeve. Michael Voyager, what are you guys gawking at? They're about to run out of the spicy chicken drumsticks you love so much. She flashed a vibrant smile over her shoulder, already jogging toward the cafeteria with her friends. I quickly grabbed James and followed, only remembering as we'd run several yards that I'd never returned Emma's farewell. Glancing back, she was still standing there, a solitary figure outlined against the bright sky, looking more alone than I'd ever seen her. Graduation rain and interrupted plans. Spring melted into summer, and with it came the madness of graduation. After the last final exam, the oppressive gray sky finally opened up, unleashing a torrential downpour. Scores of students poured into the rain, whooping and hollering, releasing 3 years of pent-up tension. I stood under the school's eaves, extending my hand to let the rain slip through my fingers, when a tap on the shoulder made me turn. So what's the grand summer plan, valedictorian? Julia tilted her head up, a small smile playing on her lips, dimples winking. I was about to answer when I saw Emma approaching us, her umbrella tilted against the wind. Getting my driver's license, I said, then turned to Julia. You? She scrunched up her nose. My parents are shipping me off to play tour guide for distant relatives visiting from overseas. Joy, you make it sound like a life sentence, I teased. Maybe I should volunteer to take one for the team. Be my guest. Emma interjected, stepping directly between us, her tone uncharacteristically soft. Michael, when are you free? My mom asked me to invite you and your parents over for dinner. Why don't we walk home together? I paused, looking from Emma to Julia. I don't think I can walk home right now, but please tell your mom we'd be happy to come. With that, I sidestepped Emma, meeting Julia's eyes. Shall we, Miss Julia? I'll walk you to your car. Okay. The umbrella was small, designed for one. I tried to angle it more toward her, leaving my right shoulder exposed to the downpour. Julia noticed, subtly edging closer until our jackets brushed, the umbrella now sheltering both of us perfectly. Michael, we said in unison, then laughed. You first, I gestured. She tucked a wet strand of hair behind her ear. The graduation party tomorrow, are you going? Are you? Of course. After this, who knows when we'll all be in the same place again. We've been through too much together to miss the send-off. Then I'll be there, I said. She stuck out her tongue playfully, and we quickened our pace. Graduation party and final confrontation. When Julia walked into the private room at the restaurant, the entire party went momentarily silent. Her makeup was understated yet perfect, that arched brows, softly curled lashes framing eyes that sparkled like polished gems, her skin glowing with a healthy flush. A faint smile graced her lips, dimples deepening as she took in the room. Wow, Julia, you look incredible, someone breathed. Seriously, there's something different about you tonight, you're stunning, another added. She blushed modestly. My mom dragged me to the mall today, and the makeup artist at the counter helped me out a bit. It's all smoke and mirrors. Please, someone scoffed, you need zero filters. Lucas, man, pick up your chin, you're drooling. James handed me a napkin, grinning. Here, dude, don't embarrass us. Get lost, I laughed, swatting his hand away. After the party, our friends accidentally arranged for Julia to drive me home. Apparently, I'd had one too many sodas spiked with punch. The night air was cool, clearing the fog from my head, but I didn't protest when Julia looped my arm over her shoulder, steadying me as we walked. Her arm was firm around my waist, a reassuring presence. Our shadows stretched and shrank beneath the streetlights, dancing to the rhythm of our steps. Just as we reached my building, a figure stepped out from the shadows, blocking our path. It was Emma, her expression icy, her arms crossed. Michael, didn't your parents ever teach you not to drink? Look at you, you've really let yourself go. Her sudden concern was jarring, and she shot Julia a disapproving look, as if holding her responsible. You must be Julia. Thanks for bringing him back. I'll take it from here. I have a key to his apartment. Her words were a clear challenge. I saw the hurt flash across Julia's face, and something in me snapped. I tightened my arm around Julia, speaking firmly. Emma, our relationship is just neighbors, remember? You said so yourself. I emphasized the word just. Julia was kind enough to bring me home. If anyone should be thanking her, it's me, not you. And as for that key, your parents asked my parents for it, so you could study, back when we were different. You can return it now. Emma stared at me, mouth agape, disbelief slowly morphing into anger. Michael, you were never like this before. Is this because of her? Emma, I did care about you once. That's true. But we both made choices, didn't we? I hope. Save it. She cut me off, her voice sharp. I get the message. Just don't come crying to me when you realize what you've thrown away. In that moment, Julia's hand found mine, her fingers intertwining with mine. I looked down at her, and she gave me a nod, her eyes steady. I squeezed her hand, turning back to Emma. I won't. Epilogue, Parallel Universes. That was the last time I ever saw Emma Clark. Later, I heard whispers that during finals week, David's actual college girlfriend had shown up on campus, cheering him on, and that had been the final nail in Emma and David's relationship. I also heard that Emma's college entrance exam scores hadn't been what she'd hoped, and she'd ended up at a state university a few hours away. Not long after, my family moved to a new neighborhood, and the thread connecting me to Emma was cut completely severed. The day my MIT acceptance letter arrived in the mail, my phone pinged with a photo from Julia. It was a picture of an identical envelope she'd applied to MIT too, keeping it a secret every time I'd asked about her dream school. The text that followed made my heart stop. Michael, I think it's time we stop dancing around it. Let's be together. I could hardly type, my fingers trembling with excitement. Wait, hold on. A guy is supposed to ask a girl out. Delete that last message. Let me do this properly. I took a deep breath, then typed, Julia Lane, will you do me the honor of being my girlfriend? Her reply came almost instantly. I'll have to think about it. Let's see how well you behave in college. I laughed out loud, typing back. I promised to be on my very best behavior at Scout's honor. As I looked out the window, the sky seemed limitless, a blank canvas waiting for us to paint our future. The road ahead was long, but for the first time, I knew exactly who I wanted by my side, walking hand in hand into the bright, unwritten chapters of our lives.